South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Defensive end is more of a straight line rusher. Don't have to do much dropping, so that linebacker position is to showcase that I'm a versatile player, and I'm able to rush like I did at Clemson. I'm able to drop in space.
You hear all different things from one first round, second round, but I'm going to get drafted. That's the biggest thing, and I'll be happy wherever I go. Like I said before, I'm going to get picked up, and any team is going to be happy to have me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on Draft Night 2015. Vic Beasley, A.J. Cann, two of the players in our state waiting on the news. Beasley won't have to wait all that long. Will he go to the Falcons at number 8? One mock draft has him going to his home state team at number 8. Cann's not going to have to wait long either. Gamecock All-American guard. Don't know if he'll go in round 1. But he's not expected to go much past round number 2, which would add to Steve Spurrier's record amongst active college football coaches for the most drafted players. Did you know that? He's sitting on, 100 or 101? I think the next one will be 101, selected under Steve Spurrier, which is quite an accomplishment for his career. He's not the all-time coach. I mean, that's in the I think Joe Paterno, Bear Bryant have the all-time record. But in terms of the active coaches, Spurrier leads the way right now, and he'll add to it in this draft. Clemson will have, who knows, off that defense, 6, 7 guys taken off that defense. Grady Jarrett supposed to go pretty early. Corey Crawford, of course, Stephon Anthony will go early, probably a second round. So it's going to be a very good draft for Clemson in particular this time around when you have a lot of seniors coming off a really good team, especially off of a great defense pro. They're going to get taken by the draft.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You see things from 5 to 18 for Vic Beasley. You know, everybody nitpicks at this time of year. The big thing is the coaching in the NFL. Yeah, everybody has a weakness, but guess what? You disguise those things by putting guys in positions to be successful. And, this thing about Vic Beasley dropping in the coverage, I mean, come on. The guy's a rusher, man. You let him pin his ears back and rush somebody. Now, he'll have to develop, playing the run a little bit better, but this guy is a pass rusher. That's what he's born to do. And then, let's face it, in the NFL now, it's a passing league. You have to have a great passer, and you got a guy that can stop a great passer. And Vic Beasley is that type of guy.
Yeah, 33 sacks in his career at Clemson pretty much speaks for itself. So we're looking ahead to the draft. It begins at 8 o'clock, the first round tonight, the first 32 picks tonight, rounds 2 and 3 tomorrow, and then they wrap it up on Saturday. Coming up tonight, we'll hear from USC baseball coach Chad Holbrook as he previews what is a huge series.
Make a break
for the Gamecocks coming up this weekend against Auburn. Mike Morgan will come along with the Braves report, recruiting, and more. Back in a moment. It is Sports Talk across the state, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia, Main Street. Sports Talk, your Sports Talk show of Main Street, South Carolina. Big weekend coming up. The big boxing showdown between Mayweather and Pacquiao. Going with Pacquiao. Don't have any particular reason. Just like him. Looks like a nice guy. Mayweather doesn't look like a nice guy. Pacquiao looks like a nice guy. I'm going with him. Are you noticing a resurgence in boxing in television now? Like they're trying to bring it back to us and make boxing relevant again in this country. Television networks, I'm not talking about your Showtimes and your HBOs. I'm talking about your over-the-air, at least on maybe their cable networks, bringing back more and more boxing, maybe a spinoff of the martial arts stuff that's been going on. Is it catching your fancy? Is it picking up across the country? Are people starting to because boxing at one time was right there, I guess, with baseball back in the 40s and 50s and before football started to emerge as the king, and even into the 60s. Great events they used to be. I mean, when you're talking about Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Ken Norton and Marvin Hagler and even before that, I'm going before my time, of course, in the 50s, but I'm talking about from when I can remember starting in the mid 60s and moving forward.
What you're mentioning with the names you just doled out is one of the problems with boxing. It's had its golden era, and boxing does best when the heavyweight division is going well.
No doubt.
And the heavyweight division, it's not going well. And of course, you had a rash of even the smaller weight classes of guys winning gold at the Olympics. And I don't think they even really, kind of put a spotlight on that anymore. And so that's one.
Can you name one good heavyweight now?
No.
I mean, I think truly Mike Tyson was the last one to really kind of Lennox Lewis isn't boxing now.
Somebody say Klitschko.
You said Tyson was the last great.
No, now. I said who was boxing. There is no super heavyweight.
So why did you reference
now.
Tyson?
I would, if you would pay attention to the show, Pope, you'd have heard me say Tyson was the last one, in my opinion, to really generate the juices.
I'm saying Lewis
boxing.
was a great heavyweight too, and he was after Tyson.
I don't think he generated the same kind of interest
that's where we
as Tyson
disagree.
did.
Lennox Lewis, what was it? The British accent? Would that be one lump? Oh, shoot.
I was just, crazy. You know what? I was just watching Ocean's 11 last night for the 13th time.
Oh, boy.
And, of course, part of the movie was a staged Lennox Lewis fight in the casino that was being robbed. So that I did see Lennox Lewis last night in the movie. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, we are at SportsTalkSC. The website is sportstalksc.com. And on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. Got a number of notes to pass along to you. We'll do recruiting coming up in a little bit as well. Going to hear from Chad Holbrook, who met with the media today. The Gamecocks, it is do or die for them now, and he realizes that. He realizes that they are out as far as the NCAA tournament is concerned right now. He's no dummy. He sees the mock 64-team fields being put together by the experts, and he also knows what his RPI is and what his record is and what's ahead. 11 games left, 9 in the league. Against 6 of them are against number 1 and number 2, and then 3 against this Auburn team that is I was looking at their numbers. Man, they've got some pitchers. They've got a good offense. They're going to be a tough out in Columbia. The good thing for South Carolina is 6 of those 9 league games are at home, and the Gamecocks are trouble at home. They've been trouble at home all season long. They can win at home, and they've got to protect their home base here. And he feels like basically, and you'll hear in his comments, he said a winning record here down the stretch, which could be 6-5. I think he's got to do better than 6-5.
I think you got to be at least 1 game or 2 500 in the league, and that's where Auburn. His
first concern. First concern's got to be making the SEC tournament. Now, Let me go back. We talked about this earlier in the week, as I do every year. I had the format wrong. The 2 worst teams in the league Numbers 13 and 14, they don't qualify.
Right.
Then the next 8, they play on Tuesday, single elimination, and the 4 winners advance to face the top 4 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Should know this because that's what happened last year. South Carolina finished as a top 4 team, so they got into the double elimination portion of the tournament, then quickly lost 2 games and came back home. First thing they have to do is avoid not making the tournament. Even if they have to play in the elimination day on Tuesday, I mean, that'll give you a chance. And right now, though, listening to them, they just seem like they're kind of lost. They have no pitching plans after Friday. It's Jack Wynkoop. He's going to get the ball on Friday. Everybody in that bullpen will be available to pitch on Friday to win that game. Then they'll see who's available, and they'll start that person on Saturday. Everybody in the bullpen, Wynkoop, and those who win extended innings on Friday will be available to pitch on Saturday. Then they'll see who's available and decide who will pitch on Sunday. Well, not a good situation to find yourself in this late in the season.
Well, the glass, if you look at it as the glass being half full, we really don't know who our Saturday pitcher is, which also means that your opposition doesn't know either, and they can't prepare.
No, they'll know soon enough. They've seen enough of them.
Enough, but
you can't hide anybody this time of the year.
But they'll have to look over several guys and who do you think they're going to throw?
Well, I mean, as soon as they announce it, they say, all right, we got video on him. You know, if it's going to be Fiore, if it's going to be Schmidt, whoever it is they throw out there on Saturday, Auburn's going to be prepared and know what to do. So, tough situation for South Carolina. Ditto. Everything I just said, for the most part, ditto for Clemson. They've got Louisville coming in this weekend. Boy, looking at Louisville's numbers, impressive to say the least. This is why they're ranked in the top 5 in the country. They have pitchers who apparently are hard throwers. Their strikeout numbers are very impressive from their pitching staff. They have struck out 428 batters so far this year. Brendan McKay has 78 strikeouts. Kyle Funkhauser has 75 strikeouts so far. So a couple of hard throwers right there. Their team ERA is 2.29. And here's something else that's impressive. Their pitching staff has given up just 8 home runs this season. Now, Louisville doesn't hit home runs. They've only hit 19, but they've only given up 8 home runs this season. So that's going to be trouble for Clemson. The Tigers are in the same boat as the Gamecocks. Everything I just said about South Carolina, except at least Clemson knows who their rotation is going to be. And they know they're going to have, like South Carolina, the Gamecocks feel like Wynkoop gives them a great shot to win on Friday. Clemson's series with Louisville will start on Saturday, and they feel like they're going to have a great shot to win on Saturday. And maybe not so good the next 2 times out, but at least they know who they're starting.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's an advantage or not. They don't have any plans to Johnny Holstaff on Saturday to try to get a win there. They'll go with Crownover and hope that he can do what he does, which is usually go deep in a game and get a win. So that is what's ahead for those 2 teams back against the wall. And I don't think we can bury our head in the sands here and think this is not true. Jack Leggett's back's to the wall regarding his future at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Failed to make the NCAA tournament. I think Dan Radakovich will make a change.
Well, here's the question. If you get on a hot streak and you sort of ease into the NCAA tournament, I'm not so certain he's still not on the hot seat. Sometimes.
Well, yeah, it hardly appeased Radakovich last year that they made the tournament and then went 0-2. And a bad 0-2. He's got to make the tournament and he's got to win a couple of games. He may have to get to a regional finals and show some progress that way. But this Clemson team hasn't showed that they can do it either. All right, we'll be back with more sports talk in a moment. And we're back at Sports Talk presented by the Palmetto Project. Call 888-998-4646 to enroll in a health plan and avoid paying next year's tax penalty. And that deadline is today. So if you haven't done it yet, get it done. I guess you got a little bit longer that you can go online and get it done. Again, the number to call for help is 888-998-4646. 800-956-7266 is our phone number here on Sports Talk. Some notes to tell you about. Billy Donovan's gone from Florida to become the next coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And what a career he had with the Gators in 19 seasons. He won 2 national championships, 4 Final Four appearances, 6 SEC regular season titles, and he pissed off Eddie Fogler really bad one time. But they got over it, and they became friends over the years. But Donovan, great coach, and he produced some terrific players. Now, of course, the talk immediately turns to the replacement. Could it be Archie Miller of Dayton? Could it be Chris Mack of Xavier? They've thrown Minnesota's Richard Pitino's name out there because of the Pitino connection with Donovan. Who knows? We'll wait and see what happens down there at Florida. But if you're Anthony Grant, you're like, huh? What? Well, Anthony Grant may go with him to Oklahoma City. He may, obviously, members of his staff. I saw one report also mentioned that Larry Shyatt may join his staff, would be a good fit on that bench with Oklahoma City. Now, if you're Larry, would you give up a head coaching job at Wyoming where you got to the tournament this year to become an assistant in the NBA?
That'll be interesting to look at. You know, I've heard his name mentioned in Florida too, but that's just because they're throwing out everybody who's been at Florida under Donovan. But this is, again.
Oh, you heard Larry Shyatt's name?
Yeah,
mentioned for Florida.
Well, yeah, you know, but they were mentioning people in the family. You know, Pelfrey, who's there also, and Anthony Grant, of course, is there, and of course, Shyatt was there for the 2 championships, I believe. And he's a solid coach. There's no doubt. Larry's a great coach. I think his specialty is defense, isn't it not?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So that and that's why he would be ideal for the NBA, because at playoff time, the defensive coach becomes the most important coach on your staff. So that's where, and he would bring a lot of experience to it. The one thing that scares me about this, Phil, is our society has gotten so where we have to make change. And I know change is healthy sometimes, but then again, you think about it. Billy's been there 19 years, but he's still only 49 years old. Is this his midlife crisis deal where wait a minute, I need to change?
He went through that with the Magic. He had his midlife crisis.
But then here's
7 years ago.
Here's the redo.
Now, I tell you what, of those names I mentioned, the one that would really excite me, they're all good coaches, I guess. I'm not so sure about Richard Pitino yet, but I love Archie Miller. Just watching him with his program at Dayton year in and year out, I think he is a terrific coach, and he would be kind of like a Donovan clone based on his age and what he can do. We'll be right back.
Well, it's good to be back home, and I think our guys have
And we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Let's dive into Chad Holbrook previewing South Carolina's upcoming series against the Auburn Tigers, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 3:30 on Saturday, 2 o'clock on Sunday. The Gamecocks 26-19, 9-12 in the league. Auburn 30-16, 10-11 in the SEC. Here is Chad Holbrook. The Gamecocks, of course, have been off for exams, and they're ready to get back at it.
Well, it's good to be back home, and I think our guys have, considering the circumstances and what we faced, they've come down this week and worked extremely hard. They've had good attitude. We've practiced well. I've kind of sensed a renewed sense of energy amongst them, and so we're excited about playing Auburn tomorrow night. Auburn's probably one of the hottest teams in our league, if not the country, and they got some experienced players. They've been pitching it extremely well. They got some tough outs throughout the lineup, obviously. They got a lot of momentum in their dugout, and it's a little bit obviously it's a little bit different than what we have in ours. But we're excited to be back at home. We got 9 SEC games left. 6 of those are at home, and we're excited about getting cranked up tomorrow night against a good Auburn team that's exceptionally well of late. Again, we're a team that's going to need our fans to help us, and we're going to need an atmosphere and an environment in here similar to what we had against Vanderbilt a couple of weeks ago, and hopefully we can play some great baseball and put ourselves in a better position than we're currently in. I have a good feeling that our guys are going to play up to their capability this weekend. I feel good about how they've prepared. I feel good about where their mind is. That doesn't guarantee you success by any stretch, but from a mental standpoint, I like where they are right now, and I hope that'll turn over into how we perform this weekend. And it all starts tomorrow night, and it looks like we're going to have great weather, and obviously a very important series to our team. And we're going to need to play well to have a chance to beat a really, really good Auburn team.
Coach, just knowing where you are in the standings, I know there's still some time left, but are you in a sense of desperation mode, perhaps, knowing that the postseason's on the line with how you guys play over the course of these next 11 games?
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about playing well tomorrow night. If I had to analyze it and dive into the numbers, of our remaining 11 games, I don't think from a one-loss perspective, getting in the conversation of the postseason is certainly not a stretch. It's certainly doable. But there's incredible challenges in those 11 remaining games as well that I'm certainly aware of. So every game is magnified because we only have 11 left, and obviously we need to win some games. But when you put more emphasis on one game than just that one game, your kids might not relax and play the way they're capable of playing. And I've had a team that's been tight from time to time this year. I've sensed it, trying too hard, not playing up to their capability for a number of different reasons. I'm not saying it's nerves or being tight is the only reason, but I've seen it from time to time. And we're playing one baseball game tomorrow night, and we're going to try our damnedest to win it. And then we'll come back to the park Saturday and try to do the same thing over again. We're trying to win one game, and that's going to be our message the rest of these last 11, to be honest. One game at a time, try to win the next one. And when our regular season's over, see where we stand.
I
there's some different varying issues, but with going with the TBA on Saturday, Sunday, is that as much of the reason for that? Just to have everybody ready, but also say, hey, we got to take it one game at a time.
Right, and I have in my mind, I have some things in my mind of who I'm going to throw Saturday and Sunday, but I might need them tomorrow. And every game's magnified. Every game's obviously very important, and we need to do everything that we can. If we're in a position to win tomorrow night, I'm not going to try to save somebody and end up maybe putting ourselves in danger of losing just because I'm thinking about Saturday. I'm not going to do that the rest of the year. It's one game at a time, and that's how we're going to treat it. If we need Clark Schmidt or Taylor Widener or Vince Fiore tomorrow night, then we're going to use them to try to win. And we'll worry about Saturday when it gets here. But that's the thought process. And, yeah, I have in my mind who I would, in a perfect scenario, who I would like to start Saturday, but I can't say that just because I might need them tomorrow night. And that's just the truth of the matter. That's just being as honest with you as I can be.
Chad, what is Max's status for this weekend?
Max is looking good, swinging the bat. He's hit. He'll practice today. We've done just a little bit of conditioning with him just to test it, but we haven't pushed him hard. That Achilles tendon is a very, very fragile part of the human body. And if you do damage to it, you're looking at a 6 to 9 month injury, maybe longer. So we've been very careful, and I will still be very careful with him this weekend. If the trainers feel and tell me that I'm putting him in danger or it's a risk to play him, and I'm not playing him. And he swung the bat fine. His pain tolerance is, or the pain has subsided. He's still a little tender. But I hadn't talked to him today. That was based on yesterday. So hopefully he's even better today. And he has swung the bat well, and he has gotten the swings in, and he's done minimal work, as far as condition is concerned. I'm hopeful he can play. Oh, go ahead. It's been an injury that we've kind of had to manage it. It's been sore for a period of time, but not too sore to take him off the field. It's been nagging. And then when he hit the double against Tennessee on Friday night, he had to really exert himself between first and second, and he just aggravated it a little bit further than we wanted it to be aggravated, and then we became not comfortable playing him.
Coach, line coop's done all season, but it seems these last couple of weeks when you needed somebody to step up in the rotation, he's been pitching his tail off. What impresses you about him as each week goes on when he takes the mound?
Here's what impresses me, and I told my team this the other day. Obviously, Jack knows where we are. Obviously, he knows the importance of his starts, and he wants the responsibility. He wants to put the team on his back. He wants the responsibility of our outcome, possibly our season's outcome, in his hand. He wants the ball in his hand with all that responsibility on his shoulders. And that says a lot about who Jack Wynkoop is. Some guys, that might be too much for, and they might not want that responsibility. Jack wants it. And I think he showed that his last two starts. He knows with Will Crow out and a couple of other guys out, and the fact that where we are in the one loss and where we are in the standings, that every time he gets the ball in his hand is very, very important that he throw well. He understands that, and he knows that. And that's a heck of a responsibility, and he's flourished in it, knowing that, heck, I got to pitch well for my team to get where it wants to go. And he's relished that, and I think that's really, really neat. It tells you a lot about the type of kid Jack Wynkoop is.
I'm sure you've looked at tournament projections and you maybe kind of run the numbers, 11 games to go. What do you think? I know you're taking it one game at a time. I get all that. But what do you think you have to do over the next 11 games win-wise to get yourself back into the NCAA tournament picture?
Well, you certainly got to win more than you lose, and you certainly got to win more league games than you lose, I think, the rest of the way to even be in the conversation. I mean, and then on top of that, you probably have to do some more damage down the road. I mean, and that's going to be a tall order. I mean, with who we have on the schedule. But we're in a difficult spot, and the only way to get out of it is, go on a winning streak, win some games. And I think for us to even be in the conversation, and I don't want to sit here and talk about postseason, the last thing I'll say about it, but out of our last 11, we certainly have to win more than we lose to be in a conversation. And I think that's the fairest, most simplistic thing I can say.
There you go. I still think don't know if 6 and 5 is going to be enough to get them in. Depends on who the 6 come against and who the 5 come against.
Get in a bowl game.
Yeah, that's true. But they need to win probably 2 of these final 3 SEC series. Back with Mike Morgan. I just wanted to have a little bit extra. We don't hear a whole lot of that around Bravestown these days because they're starting to stink like we thought they would. They fooled us for the most part this month, but I don't know. Maybe their true colors are starting to shine through, Mike Morgan, as we welcome in Mike Morgan with our Braves report. A dismal loss last night to the Nationals. Nationals finally leave town with a couple of 13 spots, been on the Braves the last 2 nights. Our Braves report brought to you by Play It Again Sports off Bauer Parkway in Columbia, by Founders Federal Credit Union, and by Mattress by Appointment. So, Mike, are their true colors starting to shine through?
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say as they stink just yet. That's a little early for perhaps that prognosis for analysis, but
I just get right to the point. I break it down. I give it to you in simple form.
Except when he's talking about his Yankees.
Yeah. Look, we all knew that this wasn't a 5-1 team when they were 5-1. And I don't think the pitching is nearly as bad as it's been the last 2 days. But the last 2 days are pretty much inexcusable when you've got 2 of your top arms and you give up 25 runs on 30 hits. That's just abysmal. I can't imagine it'll get worse than that. You've got Shelby Miller on the hill now, and with Tehran's problems of late, we might have to start calling Shelby Miller the ace of this staff. He's been dynamite. That's the good news. We'll see if he can continue his fine efforts. And, again, the offense really hasn't been that bad. But when you give up 25 runs in 2 games, you're not going to win a whole lot.
Well, they called up left-hander Donnie Veal from Gwinnett. So does he become the sacrificial lamb in the bullpen?
Well, I think right now.
Everybody missed it.
Okay, that was a joke. Okay.
Well, Veal, Lamb.
Veal, Lamb. Yeah.
Good gracious. Wake up.
I just expect better humor out of a
Yes,
Letterman.
really.
But nevertheless,
I thought that was pretty good myself.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to step on your punchline there, which pretty much speaks for itself. But
yes.
You did hit on a key point, which is the Braves have made a couple of key moves. Trevor Cahill, who you saw out of the bullpen and who was lousy as typically he's been this year, that's where he's going to stay. And right now there's a big TBA on the list for probable pitchers tomorrow for the Braves. I think, just kind of reading the tea leaves, it's going to be Fulton Avich, who's one of the guys that they got in the Evan Gattis deal. That's a flamethrower from the Astros, who is actually, even though his record is not good, has been pitching well in Gwinnett from an ERA standpoint, a little over 2. So he will probably get the ball tomorrow, and that'll give the Braves an opportunity to try to bolster the back end of that rotation, which has not been very good. And Cahill has been as awful as I quite frankly thought he would be.
All right, let's turn our attention to Auburn. You saw them last night. They come to Columbia tomorrow night for a big series against the Gamecocks. How'd the game turn out with Kennesaw, and what'd you think of the Tigers?
Well, they blanked them. Kennesaw State made a super regional last year. I don't think they're as good. With that being said, Auburn right now is on a roll. I mean, they threw a midweek pitcher who was up there throwing 12-6 curveballs, and nobody could hit it. So their entire rotation is fresh as can be. They get Keegan Thompson back. Again, they are not lethal offensively. If you throw a really good arm, like a wine coop out there, you can still shut this offense down. But I will give them credit for this much. They're real scrappy at the plate. They bunt very well. That's not to be underrated in today's day and age. And they know how to put 5 runs on the board, which very often combined with the pitching will win you some games. So they've won 9 out of 10. They're the hottest team in the league. It sets up for a big series in Columbia.
Every situation with Thompson, and when do they expect him back?
To my knowledge, he's back this weekend. Now, I don't know. I'm not working that series. I don't know whether they're going to use him Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Typically, he's been their ace, a Friday night guy. So I would think that Sonny Galloway, the head coach, would be leaning that way. But as I understand it, he's been hampered, I believe, by a back injury. And it's nothing structural in the arm. So I think back, and then the other thing I heard is he might have had a little what they call dead arm because he was working a lot of games where he's throwing 120, 125 pitches. So I think they just told him, let's shut it down for a while, get you back to full strength, and now he should be. And if so, he's one of the top pitchers in the league.
No, I asked the question because their probable starters are listed as Lipscomb tomorrow night, McCord on Saturday, and Rentz on Sunday. But they could obviously, go back to him if he's good to go. Mike, thank you. Talk to you tomorrow night. Mike Morgan with our Braves report, a little touch of SEC baseball as well as, of course, he does both. He's multi-talented. I can't believe you didn't catch that. Phil Lamb, that was very creative on my part.
Who we go about sacrificial lamb, though? It doesn't make any sense.
And off we go into recruiting land. Defensive back Kareem Felder from Baltimore. He has not been on the streets, by the way. I asked him if he was near all that stuff. He said no, that was a long way from him, and he's not interested. He's thinking strongly about a commitment Sunday. He does want to talk to his coach first before finalizing plans. A former Virginia Tech commitment focus now is on Clemson and Ohio State. He visited both earlier this month. Clemson secondary coach Mike Reed visited him last week and told him that loves him as a corner, a physical corner. They don't have many like him at Clemson, he was told, so he could go in there and play. He really enjoyed the Clemson visit and Ohio State, but he thought Clemson was prettier than Ohio State. But he really has a strong connection with Urban Meyer. He says he's stronger. He's closer to Urban Meyer than any other head coach. So we'll see what happens there. Georgia Southern offered Bamberg Earhart defensive back Keyshawn Orr today. Offensive lineman Drew Watson of Bamberg Earhart also offered by Georgia Southern. Defensive back Chris Smith of South Point offered by Air Force. Clemson offered 2017 defensive back Chris Ingram from Mooresville, North Carolina. Basketball, 6'6" Malik Ellison, Burlington, New Jersey, will make his commitment announcement tomorrow around 3 o'clock, choosing between USC, Minnesota, St. John's, and Rutgers. He was at St. John's Tuesday. He talked to USC yesterday. A lot of the recruiting analysts, especially in the Northeast, believe he is going to St. John's. We shall see. Clemson's Brad Brownell checked in on Tevin Mack yesterday. He called Mack's mother to let her know that he's still very interested in the 6'5" sharpshooter. And her son has been talking to and texting with Brownell. Paula Mack said there's no recent contact with USC. I think USC is out of this particular situation. Miss Mack talked with Mark Fox Tuesday, Shaka Smart Monday. Bill Self called again on Tuesday, and he also talked with Mac's AAU coach yesterday. He's very interested. Mac's birthday is tomorrow. Mom would like him to decide something then, but she's not been able to pin him down on that. If he doesn't decide by tomorrow, they might take a one-day visit to Georgia over the weekend. And the Clemson women signed 5'9" Aaliyah Collier of Augusta. Today, she averaged 16 points and 10 rebounds per game. And there you go with recruiting. Now, don't forget to check out our recruiting on our website, sportstalksc.com. And if you are a Twitter phobe, that's a good word, isn't it? Twitter phobe?
I guess.
I think
Twitter
it fits.
fanatic.
I like Twitter phobe.
Okay.
Anyway, hashtag ST Recruiting. That's pound ST Recruiting for you older folks. Hashtag ST Recruiting for those of you 21 and under. And that will take you right to all of our recruiting information on Twitter and on our website. And we put a lot of information just on Twitter, little small notes. So you want to check those out on a regular basis as well. When's the Pope 2000 coming out? Is that coming out anytime soon?
Roughly 2 weeks, give or take. I'll report back.
Can't wait. All right, it's top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network here on a Thursday night from downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com and on Twitter @sportstalksc. We invite you to participate in the show in any of those fashions. And we're open for some phone calls right now if you'd like to join in, discuss anything we've talked about or anything else you want to talk about. The draft, the baseball situation, a little college football, of course, is always on our minds and on the table, though things are a little bit on the quiet side right now from a college football standpoint. Little bit of news coming out of the meetings yesterday, the playoff committee folks getting together, and no real changes to the format or anything with the playoff this year. It's still going to be a 4-team deal, though I saw coach at Utah says he wants 8 teams. So that's something that's going to no doubt be harped on in the years to come. The sticking point with the folks this time around, the invasion of college coaches from the north with these camps in the south really ticking off the SEC in particular. And they're saying, okay, if you're going to do that, we're going to send our coaches to the north and have them set up camps. Harbaugh at Michigan, who is one of the coaches from the north coming to the south to work camps, has said he has invited every college coach in the country to come to his camps. If they want to come to Michigan and be in his camps, he's opening the door. Come on in. Love to have you. Again, it's a case of rules being taken advantage of for the purpose of recruiting, rules being trampled upon, finding a loophole, and coaches trying to find whatever edge they can in recruiting. And it just goes back to the whole approach of college athletics, which is very simple. It is truly, I think, more than any other sports organization that I know of, it is dog eat dog. I mean, truly, one school does not care anything at all about the welfare of the next school. Now, in the NFL, of course, which smacks of socialism the way they do things, but it's what's good for the league. In college sports, even though you got conferences and they talk about conferences, really it's about me. It's about what's good for my school. And if I can, go and find an advantage somehow, some way over you, I'm going to go for it.
Well, see, that's why I think one of the reasons the NFL is so popular is that you can count on your team. If they do well in the draft, get their systems going, they can go all the way from last to first and win a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
No other sport can do that right now.
We'll come back and take some calls in a moment. All right, the Bulls off to an 8-0 lead, trying to close out Milwaukee in Milwaukee. But it's the NBA. It's early. A lot of things will happen. Braves and Reds scoreless top of the first. Blue Jays and Cleveland scoreless top of the first. Washington and the Mets scoreless here in the first. Earlier, St. Louis, with K-Mac in attendance, beat Philadelphia 9-3. Angels beat Oakland 6-5. Couple of other notes I want to pass along to you. We'll jump into some phone calls, 800-956-7266. USC's Matt Neesmith and Will Stark named first-team All-SEC golf today. Schuler Bentley, former quarterback at Burns, now at Old Dominion's, been named ODU starting quarterback by head coach Bobby Wilder. So congratulations to him. Former USC football player, though he really never played for him, Stephen Singleton, 6'3", 300-pound lineman. He's been charged with murder after the death of a 4-year-old boy in Georgia. This according to the AJC. Being held without bond, charges of felony murder and first children. Singleton was a big-time prospect coming out of Buford, Georgia. First went to LSU, then to Georgia Military, then to USC, where he was never a player for the Gamecocks. Wofford coach Mike Ayers has hired former Clemson defensive back Brian Mance to work with his cornerbacks. Mance had been at North Greenville, and he's also hired Dane Romero, a former Terrier standout. He's in the Wofford Hall of Fame, and he's been hired to coach running backs. He's been at Brevard College. Frank Martin's B-Ball of the South event coming up tomorrow, sold out at the Colonial Life Arena. So congratulations to all involved there. USC women's basketball star Tiffany Mitchell next week will try out for the U.S. basketball women's national team. She's been invited to the mini camp in Las Vegas. She'll have her coach watching over her, as Dawn Staley is an assistant coach on the team. And the SEC announced today that the challenge in women's basketball with the Big 12 will expand to 10 games next year, and in 2017, USC will be in the event next season and will travel to Texas to face the Longhorns.
That's a tough trip. Texas usually has a decent team.
Yo, absolutely. Absolutely. So in the 2016 challenge, USC will play at Texas. USC will not play in the 2017 challenge.
Tevin Mack may be in attendance.
He could. He could be giving them the hook 'em horns deal. All right. Let me do this real quick as well. The Cadillac match play, Dustin Johnson lost today. Now, this is a double elimination event, so one loss does not end your participation. He lost in 20 holes to Charles Schwartzel. Roy McIlroy, he won his match today, as did Billy Horschel. Kevin Na was a winner today. Also, Paul Casey beat Adam Scott. That's the second loss for Scott, so he's done. Paul Casey won one up. And Jordan Spieth. Jordan Spieth is trailing Matt Every. Every is 1 up through 6, so it's early. And let's see what else of interest here. Sergio Garcia leads Bent Weisberger. And let's see. What else attracts me here? Bubba Watson, who's 2-0, defeated Keegan Brown 0-2. Luis Oosthuizen, he won his match. Miguel Angel Jimenez, 0-2. Ricky Fowler, 2-0, won his match, 1 up over Shane Lowry. Thonchai JD defeated Jim Furyk. They're each 1-1. That was 3-1 in that match. So there you go. Some of the highlights. I mentioned that Roy McIlroy won his match. He's 2-0. He won 2 up over Brant Snedeker, who finished 0-2. McIlroy is the number 1 seed in this event. So they still have a lot of golf ahead of them. All right, 800-956-7266. Caller dropped. Obviously doesn't know the rules of Sports Talk. I sometimes have to remind you that the rules
about those match play scores.
Got to remind you that, being on Sports Talk is a privilege. It is not a right. You have to pay the price sometimes. All right. Patience is a virtue in almost everything you do in life. Is it not, Pro?
Well, he was, he was
Wasn't patient enough.
He was preparing his snacks for the draft.
Apparently so. Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, according to this report in the Detroit Free Press, which is citing a story in the Daytona Beach News Journal, he has offered an 8th grade receiver. Of course, this is unofficial. We all know that this doesn't really mean anything officially. Okay, it's unofficial. But the kid is 6'5", 205. He's in the 8th grade. However, Michigan is not his first offer. The kid's name is Blake Henson.
Mm-hmm.
Miami of Florida and North Carolina have also offered Henson, who's also a talented basketball player. His brother,
mm-hmm.
a 3-star. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to use this star rating system.
Oops.
Let me do this. Don't ever do that again. His brother, who's also a defensive end tight end, next year's recruiting class, is committed to Miami, but now has a Michigan offer too.
Are any of those kids, are they related to Drew Henson, the former Michigan
I couldn't
quarterback?
tell you. Yeah, if they were, I'm sure that would be in the story.
Yeah, they're probably.
So, here we go. I mean, what is too early to offer a kid? I mean, we keep pushing the envelope.
At conception.
Maybe when the future parents are maybe dating in the 7th grade, and you check out their gene pool and see that they're going to grow kids who are 6'5", 6'6", and you all. I mean, seriously, these coaches, the pressure cannot be that great. You cannot. 8th grade. That means he still has to play the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th.
And
before he has a chance to go to college.
And let's face it, we see it.
This is an embarrassment for the colleges, if you ask me. I mean, I would be embarrassed. It's not fair to the kid.
Yeah, because
the way the world is now, Twitter and every recruiting nut job in the country is going to be on this kid. Not me. Hell no. Hell no. I do not call. Only on rare exceptions. Like if there's I don't call a kid now, only the 2016 kids. But if there's a 2017 kid who's about to make a commitment somewhere, if he's already that far down the road and you have to report on him, I'll reach out. No, sir.
Well, here's where
I do not call beyond the next group coming up.
Here where it hurts the kid.
With a rare exception.
Is when you see a kid.
But certainly not 2 years down the road. No.
Well,
2018, don't care.
Here's a kid.
2019, never heard of you.
This is
2020, don't know you.
This is what hurts the kid.
I ain't doing it.
Well, Michigan already offered him. He doesn't look that good to me. I mean, because he's in the 8th grade, my goodness. You heard that in Columbia with 7th Woods. Okay. People who don't follow basketball or don't follow it that closely, they'll look at a mixtape. And then when 7th Woods takes the floor, they expect to see the mixtape.
And then that mixtape on him had, what was it, like 6 million views or something?
And then they say, well, he wasn't as spectacular as I thought he would be. I said, this is a basketball game, for goodness sake. It's not a mixtape.
But think about this. I mean, these highlight tapes, they're only going to show the good stuff.
Well, that's true.
They're not going to show everything in between where you screw up. They're only going to show the good stuff. I'll tell you this, basketball, college recruiters, I mean, they're addicts when it comes to recruiting.
You almost have to be.
Because they cannot restrain themselves from making the next offer to the next greatest thing, to the next slice of bread.
Ever had a friend who was an insurance salesman? Did they ever turn it off?
I don't think I had any friends. I have one who's an insurance salesman.
I used to have friends who were insurance salesmen. They're still insurance salesmen, but they're no longer my friends.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. But you know what? There's nobody that can do anything about it. We'll be right back. Coming up here at the bottom of the hour break, we're going to get a visit from a NASCAR Truck Series driver. Looking forward to this. Mason Mingus. Mason is a native of Tennessee, and he drives the number 15 Chevy in the Truck Series. One of his sponsors is 811, covering South Carolina, North Carolina. Call before you dig. You know, they are a wonderful sponsor here on Sports Talk, trying to get the message out to folks about calling before you dig and cutting one of those lines, like a gas line or electrical line or whatever.
Before.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And he'll be with us here at the bottom of the hour. He's coming off a 22nd place finish in Martinsville. They're off this weekend. They'll be racing next weekend in Tucson. So looking forward to talking a little Truck Series racing coming up with Mason Mingus here on Sports Talk. And at 45, you know, one of the big golfing events in our state. I shouldn't say golfing because that makes the word golf sound like a verb.
It's a bonding event.
Well, I want to make sure. See, I don't believe the word golf is a verb. A lot of people say, hey, did you golf today? I mean, people take it and treat it like it's bowling.
Instead of saying, did you golf?
Exactly. It really irritates me when I hear people say, hey, did you golf today? No, I didn't golf today. I played golf. So I don't want to take the word and use it like it's a verb. So there's a big golf event. One of the big golf events here in South Carolina is also one of the biggest of its kind in the country. It's Family Golf Week coming up in July in Myrtle Beach. And they have the Father-Son Team Classic, the Mother-Daughter Team Classic, and the Father-Daughter Team Classic. And I mean thousands of golfers from all across the country convene on Myrtle Beach for this event. And my good friend Greenie Greenstein is going to join us at 45 to tell us about it and give us some details. And if you haven't signed up and you want to, and you want to play with your son, your daughter, or your father, you notice they don't have a husband-wife thing going here because you know, that could lead to a bit of a problem. Can you imagine a husband and wife on the golf course in a tournament and they get in an argument right in the middle of honey, use your 3-iron. No, I want to use a 7-iron. Honey, you should use your 3-iron. I'm telling you, you'll never get there with your 7-iron.
And then when
she hits him across the head.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Then she does use the 3-iron. But
what was the club that she used on Tiger?
If I remember, was it a 9? Is that correct?
Was it a 9?
I have to look at it. I thought it was a driver.
No, he became a driver. Typical of the way he drives the ball, he drove his car right into the bushes. Didn't he hit a fire hydrant or something?
He hit something over there. Probably a fire hydrant sitting in front of Lou Holt's house.
Oh my goodness!
Were they neighbors?
Oh my, yeah, out there at what is that, Lake Nona in Orlando? All right, that's what we got coming up here in the next half hour of Sports Talk. Looking forward to Mason Mingus being with us here shortly, and Greenie Greenstein in the next half hour as well. We'll be back. More Sports Talk from Columbia coming up. And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Columbia. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornblut, the Professor Tom Hayes, and the Steak Man Graham Pope. Of course, tomorrow night we'll have the full Monty on NASCAR with us. Monty Dutton will be here to talk about the big weekend at Talladega, but give you a little early taste of racing weekend. We're going to talk a little truck racing as we welcome into Sports Talk the driver of the number 15 truck, Camping World Truck Series, with our good friends 811 as one of his sponsors. Mason Mingus is with us here on Sports Talk. Mason, how you doing, man? Hey, Mason, can you hear me?
I can. You got me?
Yeah, we got you now. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Man, we're doing fine. Thank you for joining us tonight. And coming off a 22nd place showing at Martinsville last time out, huh? How do you feel about the way your season's going so far?
Yeah, it could definitely be going a little bit better, but it's definitely not a result of the trucks that the guys have put together for me. We've had some really strong trucks to start the year off. Hopefully we're getting our battle out of the way. We need to keep getting caught up with people that we really don't want to race around and are paying the price for that. But, we've had some good trucks. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I think we're just getting the bad stuff out of the way early so that we can move forward.
Have you just been in the wrong place at the wrong time here more often than not?
Yeah, pretty much. That was definitely what happened at Martinsville. We got spun pretty early, and that really put us off sequence. Got us a lap down, and we were just kind of playing catch up for the rest of the race, and really could never get back on that lead lap and race those guys. But I felt like we had definitely had a truck to do so.
Well, this is just your second full season in the truck series. At least you feel like you're making progress compared to last year.
Yeah, we definitely are. And I moved over to Billy Boat Motorsports at the end of last year, and I felt like that was a good change for me. They're doing some great things, getting some really good trucks together this year and building brand new trucks and hiring some really good guys. And I think we're going to show up at the racetrack competing for top tens and for wins as we go throughout this year. It's definitely a learning curve, but we definitely have some great people behind us to do so, not just the guys at the shop and the guys that work for Billy Boat Motorsports. We got some great sponsors like North Carolina 811, South Carolina 811, and all the different 811 call centers that are on board with us, and that we're going to carry that message, call before you dig, throughout the season.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that in just a moment, but I want to talk a little bit more about you. And, you're a young guy. What are you, 20, 21? You're just really getting going at this level of racing. And we all know that the truck series can be a catapult to bigger things in racing. Can you see that in your future? Are people telling you, learn your trade here, go through the hard knocks and be patient, and you'll get to that next level?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what's great about the truck series. And before that, I was in the ARCA series and kind of used that as a stepping stone before we moved into NASCAR. So I was racing super late models and wanted to get in the ARCA series, so that I got in a heavier stock car, more horsepower, and got to feel that at some of the bigger racetracks that we were going to see on the NASCAR side. And moving into the truck series last year gave me a lot of really good experience, a lot of track time at all the racetracks that we're going to go to this year. So the rest of the tracks that I'll see all year long, I've already been to in a truck. So I think that's a positive. And having that seat time last year is going to carry over and pay off a lot for me this year. And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to, is not having to show up and learn everything brand new every single weekend like we did last year and like I've done for the past couple of years, because we've been moving up so fast. It's always been new every single weekend. So I think that'll be good. And then hopefully we can have some success here and move forward in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, can you see the Xfinity Series in your future? How far off are you from taking that step up?
It's I guess it's all a matter of finding the right people to get behind us. We've got, like I said earlier, we've got a lot of great partners that are on board with us to make it possible for us to do what we do. If we can keep putting up results and get some good finishes here this year and get a good finish up good in the points, I think that we can gain some more interest from some people and hopefully move up.
Yeah. Talking with Mason Mingus, who drives in the Camping World Truck Series for NASCAR. His sponsors, 811, you heard him mention that, South Carolina, North Carolina, and other spots. And I guess you were in Greenville today. They had some sort of a meeting, maybe a little bit of promotional meeting up in Greenville regarding the 811 folks?
Yeah, they did. They had a joint North Carolina South Carolina conference, so we were able to go up there and sign some autographs, talk to some people, and got to do a little presentation, kind of explain what we do in the truck series and kind of what our goal is and how we're carrying that 811 message across the country.
Yeah, how do you enjoy having them as obviously financially it's great, but the message that you're presenting from them across the country, what is that? How do you feel about being one of the deliverers of that message?
It's great. It's to me, it goes a lot farther, a lot deeper than just having a sponsor on board on a race car. I've got a personal tie into the industry. My dad owns a construction company in Tennessee, and I grew up all my life, operating equipment and seeing that side of the industry. So I know, everything about 811 and how important it is to call 811. We see that on a contractor side of things. And I think the biggest thing to educate people on is they should always call before you dig. It's not just for the contractors that are putting in gas lines or building houses. It's for your everyday homeowner. If they want to go plant a tree in their backyard, they need to call 811. And I think that's really important because, being in the construction industry, you see the extreme of everything. And that's something that a lot of the public doesn't get to see. So knowing that, that we can carry that to all these race fans that are coming out the racetracks, and anybody watching on TV to try to help educate them and potentially save lives is pretty cool for me, especially since I do have that tie in the industry.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite racetrack yet?
I'm gonna have to go with Bristol. I've only been able to race there once, but up until last year, that was always on my bucket list, number one track that I wanted to go, and I feel like that's a place that that suits me. I've always liked the short track, the high bank, fast places. Growing up late model racing, Salem, Indiana, Winchester, Indiana, places like that. So Bristol falls right into that category. I'm really looking forward to go there with a really good truck this year.
Absolutely. What about Darlington? Have you ever driven a car at Darlington?
I have not, and unfortunately, it's not on our schedule. So I wish the trucks went there. I would love to run there.
Yeah, we got to get you into Darlington. Have you ever been to a race at Darlington just as a fan?
I haven't. I haven't even gotten to go there.
Well, you got to do that. That's got to be on your bucket list.
Oh, it is. It is for sure. If we can carve some time out this season, hopefully that'll fall on one of our off weekends.
All right, so you're off this weekend, and then next weekend, Kansas. That's a pretty fast track. What do you think about going out there, and what are you guys working on during the off weekend to get yourself ready for a good run on the 8th of May?
Yeah, I've had some decent seat time at Kansas. I've run an ARCA race there and a truck race there. So I like to go back to places that I've been to and that I've got a little bit of seat time experience in. And I had a decent run. I had a top 10 there last year in the truck series and top 5 or maybe a 6th place run in the ARCA series there. So I'm excited to go back. I think that'll be a place that we can go out and run well, and hopefully the cards will fall our way a little bit this time, and we can show what we're capable of and what kind of trucks that we have.
Well, listen, you're our new favorite driver in a truck racing. So good luck to you. Listen, drivers that come on our show, good things happen to them. Austin Dillon was with us a couple of years ago, and ever since his career has just taken off. So I project good things ahead for you.
Yeah, I'd say you guys must be the good luck charm, huh?
Well, some coaches would disagree, but the sports talk curse hasn't really penetrated NASCAR yet, so I think you're safe.
Good.
Well, you keep carrying the message out there about 811 and call before you dig, and we appreciate you being with us, and we'll talk to you again, I'm sure, during the season.
All right, great. Thanks for having me on here.
You guys, thank you very much. All right, nice guy, Mason Mingus. And if you're a race fan and you want to pay attention to the trucks, here's your new guy, Mason Mingus, who's currently he is 23rd in the standings. So he's got a little bit of work cut out for him.
And he's about what, 20? You say
the young
21?
guy's 20 years old. Yeah, I was reading his bio. He was a heck of an athlete.
You mentioned to him about a bucket list. He hadn't even looked at a bucket yet.
No, he said bucket list. He said Bristol was on his. Did he say Bristol was on his bucket list? Yeah, I think he did.
Shoot,
so
21 years old. Yeah, you need to think about no bucket.
All right, thanks to Mason Mingus for being with us here on Sports Talk. We're back in just a moment. right, we're back with you here on Sports Talk. Braves and Reds scoreless in the third. Mets up on Washington 1-0. Toronto and Cleveland, they are scoreless. And we are, 12 minutes before the Bucks go on the clock in the NFL draft. Let's welcome into Sports Talk, good friend of mine. Had a chance to hack it around with him a couple of weeks ago. Well, I was hacking it around. He was hitting it down the middle and putting for birdie almost every time. That's what happens when you're a scratch golfer. Greeny Greenstein joins us from Myrtle Beach. Greeny, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Corn. How you doing?
I'm doing just great. Thanks for joining us because you are involved in a heck of an event that is annual down along the beach. Family Golf Week coming up in July, not too soon to plan for it. Father, son, mother, daughter, father, daughter, and you've got, thousands of golfers coming in?
We do. We'll have a close to about a little over 1,000, about 500 plus teams that we have that come down here every July. This is our 18th year doing this event, largest in the world, and we just this year we decided to expand a little bit and do a mother-daughter and a father-daughter, and so far things are going really well.
That's
so
great.
We're excited about it.
That is
we're
great.
excited about it.
How many courses are involved in this?
We actually have 9 golf courses that are involved for the father-son, and then we've got 4 courses for the I'll call them the daughter tournaments. So it's just a good way for whether it be grandfather, grandson, uncle, nephew, mother, daughter, father, daughter. It's just it's all about we just want to create that atmosphere where everybody comes down, they have a good time, and it's just good bonding, good family bonding.
I noticed that you haven't gone to husband wife just yet.
Not yet, but we might do that. Who knows? Who knows? We might get there one of these days.
Well, have the divorce attorneys standing by if you decide to go that route. Now, anybody listening to us around South Carolina who is into golf and has a son or daughter or whatever the combination might be, and they want to jump in on this thing, what should they do?
They need to go to they can go to familygolfweek.com. That's our website. They can click on, we've got all 3 events out there. They can click on whatever icon they want to do, and all the information will come up in regards to the schedule of events, the cost, the everything they need to know. Everything they'll need to know is right there on the website. And they can always call the office as well. We have a 1-800 number on there too, so you can always call for information on that. So
very good. What do you win? What are they playing for? Trophies? Are they playing for monetary awards? What are they playing for besides pride and prestige?
The national championship. The national
okay.
championship. We have how we have that set up is we have a gross and a net division in each flight. So we'll have it, regardless of your handicap. It doesn't matter. I mean, some of these people think because this is a national event that you got to be a good player. You don't. We handicap everything. So you're flighted, and we pay out 3 spots. Everybody gets a really, really, really nice piece of glassware, and we just love to give prizes away. So that's kind of what it's all. We want everybody to win when they get here. So that's that's how we have things set up there. So, but it's we'll end up having last year we ended up having 24 flights, and we did a national champion, which for 49 and under. Then we had a senior champion, which was 60 to 69, and then a super senior division, which is 70 and over. So we ended up crowning 3 national champions last year. So
how many rounds of golf do you play in each tournament?
It's 3 rounds for the father-son, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, each day is a different format. Thursday is the best ball. Then Friday is a alternate shot based on your total team handicap.
Mm-hmm.
And then Saturday is a captain's choice, or some people call it scramble.
Sure.
And it's based on your total team handicap as well. We do a percentage. And then for the daughters events, it's just a 2-day event. It's a Thursday, Friday. First day we do best ball, and then the second day we do a captain's choice scramble. So
wow. Got some great courses lined up. I know it's going to be a great event. The weather should be dandy. And
we hope so.
You will have a blast, and we'll check back with you in July when this thing is unfolding and find out how it's going.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a pleasure.
You got it, my friend. Greeny Greenstein, Again, it's 3 events kind of rolled into one. Family Golf Week is what they call it. Father and Son Team Classic, Mother and Daughter Team Classic, and Father and Daughter Team Classic. July 15 through 18, Myrtle Beach. FamilyGolfWeek.com gives you all the information that you need to know. FamilyGolfWeek.com. Thanks to Greeny for being with us, and we'll be back. Wrap it up in a moment. Okay, back to wrap things up. Thanks again to Greenstein for being with us tonight to talk about the Family Golf Week in Myrtle Beach. Going to be a heck of a lot of fun there with that. We have a blowout going on in the NBA playoff.
Yeah, it's about 49-23.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls.
I'm looking forward to the Spurs
and Clippers.
And the Clippers tonight. That's going to be a war.
Because both teams have won
war
on each other's home floor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key.
And I can't wait. I hope they do Popovich's in-game interview after the first quarter. I tell you what, I am never one to shy away from interviewing any subject. Boy, I feel – of course, they know what to expect. I feel for those reporters who have to stand there and ask him questions, knowing that I think Popovich would rather have a root canal and a lobotomy going on at the same time than answer those questions.
But the thing about it is you can tell deep down he has a sense of humor because –
I can't tell it.
Well, the point is –
how can you tell it? The guy doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to answer the questions.
It's not his answer. It's his look. Before they even ask the question.
Because they know. Even even Sager and of course Sager is so highly regarded, and he'll talk to Sager a little bit simply because of who Sager is and what he's gone through. But by and large, he put up a stink when they started doing this. He was one of the coaches who said, "I don't want to talk during a." And to be honest with you, I don't blame him. I think it's an intrusion. I don't like television intruding into the ebb and flow of the event. I think it's an intrusion. We're seeing it now in college. We saw it during the NCAA women's basketball tournament. They were interviewing the coaches during. I don't like it, but that's just me, you know.
But then they know.
I don't need to know everything that everybody is thinking at every moment.
Paying the freight, though. That's why they go ahead.
Well,
and do
I would like somebody to stand up one time and say, you know what, this isn't a good idea.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is he has some.
Nobody has the spine or the I'm not other body parts. They don't have it anymore to stand up to television in particular and say, you know what, we're not going to do that because that's not good for our game. It's not good for our game.
Because management won't let him. But Popovich has his own unique way of protesting things. Like, for instance, when he rested players, they complained. So he waited till they had that national television game with Miami and rested Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker just to make a point. I can rest my players when I want to.
Looking forward to that. Oh, the draft is coming up. Chris Berman is back to take you through the draft. I hope somebody named Veal is picked and somebody says, hey, I wonder if he'll be the sacrificial lamb for that team. I thought that was the line of the night, to be quite honest with you. To come up with something like that so clever, so quickly, I impressed myself with that.
It doesn't take much to make you happy, does it?
We'll have coverage of the big PGA 2021 announcement tomorrow from Kiowa and other good stuff. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.